giving you insight into what I'm seeing coming next in this speech. We're about to enter a fourth user experience. The first one was character mode DOS. The second one was GUIs with the Macintosh. The third one was touch with the iPhone and Android and tablets. And I'm seeing a new world coming thanks to guys like this. This is Mayron, who runs a company called Meta. And he's competing with a company called Magic Leap. He's also competing with Microsoft HoloLens. And I know of 11 glasses under development at companies like Facebook and Amazon and Apple that are going to compete with this guy's glasses. We're building a new user interface, one that you don't use your fingers or a mouse to interact with, but one that interacts with the world as we walk around. Or these new mixed reality glasses that are coming, like the Microsoft HoloLens, that are going to have sensors, and they're going to map out the world as you look around, as you walk around in the world. And the glasses, like the Magic Leap glasses, are going to map this world out with these sensors. And this is the Google Tango sensor video that you're seeing. And they're going to be able to overlay or mix reality on top of the real world. They're going to be able to put virtual items on top of the real world. So as you walk around the world with these sensors on, it's going to be mapping us. It's going to be mapping the world as we move through this space. And we're going to be able to do all sorts of new applications, because we're going to be able to see how big a room is just by looking around that fast, right? And you're seeing some of the demos of what Tango can do. And this video is already a year old. So that gives you a sense of how fast this market is about to move. Google in a couple weeks is going to announce Tango with a Chinese phone company. And you're going to be able to use the phone with these sensors on it to map out the world and start putting virtual items on top of it. The ability to know exactly where you are just by wearing something or holding some sensors up is really, really compelling. And it's going to let us do things like these blue arrows on the floor, which are overlaid on top of the real world. Developers are going to have a lot of fun with this. When we went to touch computing, two companies bet on the old world, Nokia and BlackBerry, and they're pretty gone or irrelevant today. Tomorrow, you're going to be putting on glasses like this, like you already are if you work at Caterpillar, and you're going to augment the world. You're going to see how to fix a new tractor, how to do things like change a jet engine at Boeing. Disney designed its new theme park in virtual reality. Think about a system that has always-on, really high-speed internet. An executive at Google X told me that in 5 years, the phone company is dead. And if you think about how that's going to happen, Google has more fiber around the world than any other company. And they are building things over our heads to bring us high-speed wireless on balloons. And here in the modern world, we're going to get antennas that are really high speed and very low cost. We're also going to control this world in a new way. We're not going to use controlling devices like mice and pens anymore. We're going to use our bodies and our eyes.
A close-up of some electronics in our office, and I can go home when I want to. Over here is a medical application, and I'm
all with your eyes.
All with my eyes. So I'm doing this solely with my eyes as fast as I can look. I'm not waiting, I'm not winking, I'm just looking. There's some confidential information, which is here, and now it's going to take a picture of my eye. It grabs it, says, oh, who is that? Confirms that it's me, and in a moment you'll see that it'll give me access. I'm Jim, head of CEO and founder of iFluence, and there it is. I've got confidential information.
He only let me film 1/8 of his demo. The part he didn't let me film is he had me put on a separate pair of glasses, and he had me look at items in my world. And I pulled my iPhone out, put it on the table, and looked at the iPhone, it went to Google image search, figured out that was an iPhone 6s Plus, all with my eyes, and then pulled up Amazon and let me buy another iPhone, all with my eyes. So think about walking around the world and interacting with brands and people this way. You're going to look at things and be able to control the user interface and the world all with our eyes. And of course, we're still going to have our hands. Meta and HoloLens and Magic Leap are building sensors that see our hands and let us do gestures to the user interface and click on things and punch things and have lots of fun. This new spatial world evolved with products like Microsoft HoloLens. That's going to change over the next year because the devices are finally starting to come out. But keep in mind, these are big devices. They're expensive devices. They're $3,000 today. What you're not seeing is what's happening in the R&D labs. And I'm seeing such a consistent improvement every year in the size, in the sharpness, in the compute package, and the price coming down, that we can pretty clearly see that within 2 to 4 years, we're going to see this kind of product get really small and get to the place where it can start replacing our cell phones. So you think about wearing a glass that doesn't have a cell phone involved, and it's quite exciting. It's going to let us do new kinds of education. It's really mind-blowing, by the way, when you are in one of these glasses and you get to play with virtual items in the real world. I mean, at Meta, it just absolutely blew me away. At Facebook, when you visit the Oculus Rift's headquarters, they take you into toy bots. And they put 2 controllers on your hands, and you're put into Oculus Rift. And you can play ping pong with somebody else over the internet. You can shoot them. You can punch them. You can play trains with them. It's so compelling. I can see playing ping pong for 1,000 hours. And if people say I'm lying, we played Pong on the Atari for 1,000 hours when we were kids, and that was a stupid white dot going back and forth, right? And that's just one of these new social VR systems coming out. Philip Rosedale, who started Second Life, is building one called High Fidelity. Second Life is building a new one, and there's many new social VR systems coming along. And you might say, well, that's only in Silicon Valley. But no, this is happening in Paris. There's a guy who's building a 360-degree real estate site, right? And it's happening all over the world. This is a new, powerful interface, one that's going to let us explore new kinds of journalism, new kinds of education, and new kinds of experiences. Where is this world going, and who's going to be disrupted? What kinds of new experiences are you going to be able to build? It's going to be pretty mind-blowing. Google just last week announced a new VR system that uses mobile phones. And this is going to bring VR to a lot of people. With the mobile phone, you're going to see a lot of innovation thanks to Google Tango. They're using the sensors on the phone to try to do similar things to the high-end controllers. So they're trying to figure out where in the world you are and how to interact with the world. The mobile phone, of course, is a lot more affordable. So you're going to see, already you see 1 million of the Samsung Gear VR headsets sold. HTC has sold about 50,000 of their high-end headsets. Siri, when you say something to Siri, and this is true of all of them, Alexa on the Amazon Echo, Cortana, and the Google navigation system, it has to write 80 lines of code. These systems are so frustrating. But Viv writes the code as you search, so it's much more flexible. So the statements that you can give it are much longer. And also, Viv is open on the bottom end. And in fact, Apple just announced that Siri will be open. This is what they're talking about. They're going to make it possible for a developer like Foursquare to listen for anything that has to do with Foursquare and then write the rules that are going to affect the engine. We're heading into this new world, and I really am honored to be here to present a little taste of what's coming in the next 5 years. The next 5 years are going to be really crazy. So thank you very much.